Imagine being a washed-up movie star whose biggest concern is whether people still remember his name, and then finding out the fate of an entire realm somehow depends on him not getting punched into another dimension. Yeah, welcome to Mortal Kombat. The movie doesn't ease you into anything. It basically grabs you by the shirt and says, "Remember all those problems you thought were important? Forget them." Because while normal people are worrying about jobs, bills, and relationships, somewhere out there, warriors are preparing to fight for the survival of an entire world. And honestly, nobody is more confused about all of this than Johnny Cage. This guy is living his life like he's still the biggest action star on the planet. He knows how to throw one-liners, he knows how to pose for cameras, and he knows how to make everything about himself. But fighting actual monsters and warriors who can tear through steel with their bare hands was definitely not in the job description. At first, Johnny treats everything like a joke. Someone tells him Earthrealm is in danger, and he laughs. Someone tells him ancient warriors are gathering, and he rolls his eyes. Someone says the fate of millions is at stake, and he probably asks if there's catering. But that's what makes him so entertaining. While everyone else is carrying the weight of destiny on their shoulders, Johnny walks into the room, acting like he accidentally joined the wrong meeting. Meanwhile, Liu Kang has the exact opposite problem. Everybody expects him to have answers. Everybody expects him to stay calm. Everybody expects him to save the day. Imagine that kind of pressure. Just protect an entire realm from complete destruction while everyone watches your every move. Easy, right? You can actually feel how exhausted he is sometimes. Not physically, but mentally. Because being the guy everyone believes in sounds cool until you realize nobody asks if you're scared too. And trust me, this movie gives these characters plenty of reasons to be scared. Because the enemies this time aren't messing around. The second you think someone is safe, they're not. The second you think the heroes finally have a plan, think again. The second you start celebrating because one problem gets solved, 3 more show up. That's honestly one of my favorite things about this movie. Nobody gets comfortable. Not the characters, not the audience, not even for 5 minutes. Then you've got the rest of the fighters. People carrying anger they've buried for years. People trying to prove themselves. People refusing to let fear control them. Some step into battle because it's their duty. Others fight because they don't know what else to do. And a few probably fight because they're too stubborn to quit. The personalities bouncing off each other are hilarious sometimes. You've got serious people trying to focus while Johnny says something ridiculous. Someone's trying to explain how dangerous the situation is, and Johnny cracks another joke. The world is literally falling apart, and somehow this man still finds time to act like he's auditioning for another movie. But underneath all the arrogance, he's terrified. He just hides it better than most people. Because pretending to be fearless is easier than admitting you don't know what you're doing. And honestly, who wouldn't be scared? One minute you're worried about your career, and the next minute you're surrounded by warriors who could destroy you without breaking a sweat. Then the fights start happening. And these aren't the kind of fights where you know exactly who's walking away. Every punch feels heavy, every mistake matters, and nobody can afford to switch off because one bad decision can cost everything. What I really liked is that the movie doesn't just throw action at you for no reason. The fights actually reveal who these people are. Some fighters rely purely on aggression. Some stay disciplined. Some are driven by guilt. Some fight because they have someone worth protecting. And others are trying to prove something to themselves. You can almost tell what kind of person someone is just by the way they approach combat. And somehow, Johnny Cage slowly stops being the joke. I know, I was surprised too. Because the guy who spent most of the movie talking too much starts realizing that pretending to be brave and actually being brave are 2 completely different things. That's when things get interesting. Because once he starts taking things seriously, you begin rooting for him. The movie also does a really good job making you feel like danger could come from anywhere. Nobody has time to breathe. Nobody gets a proper break. And every small victory feels temporary. It's like the universe keeps saying, "You thought that was the hardest part? That's cute." The enemies keep pushing. The pressure keeps rising. People start making difficult choices. Sacrifices become necessary. Trust gets tested. And suddenly the movie isn't just about fighting anymore. It's about loyalty. It's about fear. It's about finding out who people really are when everything falls apart. Because it's easy to call yourself a hero, when life is comfortable. It's different when standing your ground might cost you everything. Without spoiling all the biggest moments, let's just say this movie knows how to keep you nervous. Every time I thought I knew exactly where things were heading, something happened that made me sit back and think, wait, what? Some characters surprised me. Some moments genuinely hurt. Some fights had me smiling like an idiot. And a few scenes reminded me exactly why Mortal Kombat fans keep coming back. Because underneath all the chaos, it's weirdly human. These aren't perfect people. They're stubborn, reckless, argumentative, flawed, and constantly making mistakes. They doubt themselves, but when things get impossible, they fight anyway. By the time everything starts reaching its breaking point, nobody is the same person they were at the beginning. The arrogant learn humility, the doubtful find courage, the strong discover limits, and the people who thought they understood sacrifice realize they hadn't seen anything yet. That's all I'm going to say, because some moments are better experienced without somebody explaining every single detail. But if you walked into Mortal Kombat expecting nothing but punches and explosions, you might actually be surprised. Hidden beneath the ridiculous odds, impossible battles, and larger-than-life personalities is a simple idea. Being brave doesn't mean you're not afraid. It means you're terrified, and choosing to stand up anyway. Watching a guy who used to pretend to save the world on movie sets slowly become the kind of person willing to risk everything when it actually matters might have been my favorite fight of all. Not the one inside the arena, but the one inside himself. Maybe that's why Mortal Kombat keeps working after all these years. The monsters change, the enemies evolve, and the stakes get bigger. But the question stays the same. When everything is falling apart, do you run or do you fight?